Debate Club of 2015 DJIS. Today we'll be discussing a very important topic. It's whether can money buy happiness or not. On my right we have the affirmative team, and on the left we have the negative team. First of all, we would like to give a warm hand to the judges, please. Okay, please. Thank you. Before we begin, I would like to make things clear. During the debate, please do not interrupt the other team. Make sure they finish their point before the stating goes, okay? We will begin by allocating 5 minutes for each team for the opening statement. May the affirmative team please begin.
We are currently living in a world where money controls nearly every aspect of our daily lives, from food to clothing and from cars to houses. Everything costs money. We spend our lives seeking money and seeking happiness. Many might argue if this is socially healthy, but nevertheless, it's the plain truth. Yes, money can indeed buy happiness. It can facilitate our lives and open doors we never dared to look at their locks. With money, you have the power. To add on, happiness doesn't only come from receiving, it also comes from giving. The warm feeling of satisfaction you get knowing you changed someone's life to the better. Knowing that your presence in this community makes a difference. If money doesn't make you happy, then you're probably spending it wrong.
Thank you. Negative team, do you have an opening statement?
Good morning, everyone. Before beginning, we would like to thank everyone for making this activity possible. We would like to thank Mr. Ammar and Mr. Fahim for enacting the idea of a debate in our school. We would like to thank the panel of judges, who with no doubt will assess both teams on fair reasons. And finally, we would like to thank the audience in advance for their respectful attitude. Today's topic is, can money buy you happiness? So cutting to the chase, we find that money cannot buy happiness. Don't get me wrong, there are lots of things that money can buy. It can buy you a phone, a car, or a house. However, when it comes to happiness, money does not do the job. The list of what money can't buy is endless. And all items bring happiness. Money cannot buy manners, respect, morals, character, trust, patience, love, modesty, memories, quality time with family, and the list goes on. You see, the things money cannot buy are all related to happiness, while the things it does aren't. However, for the limited time of this debate, we will not limit ourselves to all of them. We will only talk about 4 important ones. Thus, the reasons money cannot buy happiness are: first of all, when we consider the meaning of true happiness, we find that money has no relation to the meaning of happiness. Second reason is that money increases greed and reduces generosity in people. Third of all, money does not buy family, love, and friends. And most importantly, money does not buy a carefree life. Thank you.
Thank you. The affirmative team, may you please support or begin your debate.
The three main paths that lead to happiness are health, family, and the decent standards of living. Let's take a closer look on each of those. Health. Sickness is a part of life. We're all vulnerable to disease and injuries, some of which are minor, requiring minimum care and therefore minimum amount of money, while others require intensive care and therefore require more money. With money, you can ensure yourself a spot in the best hospital around the world, curing everything that can be cured. Money can't buy health, but it can buy healthcare, which in turn buys health. Family. What is your job? Do you have a house? Do you have sufficient money to care for our beloved daughter? These are the questions that one gets asked here in the Arab countries. A lot of men get rejected due to the lack of money, failing to establish a family. To add on, once you establish a family, money is required to maintain that family. Money can't buy a family, but it makes the process of establishing one a whole lot easier. Finally, there's the decent standards of living, a campaign led by the students of University of Cambridge and funded by the chairman aimed to help homeless and orphans. It provided homeless with rooms and orphans with families and paid for their monthly expenses. At the end of the campaign, after helping 2,000 individuals, the students, the chairman, and the individuals were interviewed. The students were delighted because they helped find a family for the children. and the chairman was joyful because he used his money for a good cause, and the individuals were satisfied because their problems were solved. What are the common factors in all of this? Money and happiness. I repeat, money can buy happiness, and we can see this not only by receiving, not only by giving, but also by receiving. Not only by receiving, but also by giving those in need.
Thank you, affirmative team. The negative team, would you like me to point out the statements that they said in short points, or did you understand what they said? Okay, you may begin.
First of all, we would like to define the meaning of true happiness, because the debate question is about happiness specifically. According to psychologist Sandra Librisky, the meaning of happiness is experiencing joy, contentment, or positive well-being, combined with an idea that one's life is useful and purposeful. She continues by saying that to cultivate happiness, a person should build relationships, give thanks, and finally, and most importantly, not focusing on material wealth, because material wealth does not bring happiness. With that meaning clear in front of us, it's pretty clear that money cannot buy happiness. Also, researchers, they conducted a study. They found out that when we reach $75,000, after that, our happiness levels do not increase when we get money, because money does not cause the happiness that we need. They found that the happiness levels plateaued. And research by Richard Esterlin found out that countries that are richer are not happier than countries that are poorer. That's why people who prioritize materialistic things over others are less happy, and comparing ourselves with other people that are richer than us decreases our happiness levels. Also, although economic output has risen steeply over the past decades, although over the years our world is becoming richer and richer, people found out that our happiness levels have not increased. They found out that depression and distrust have increased with the increasing wealth, and differences in well-being are what's causing depression and other problems. And they found out that what causes happiness is not the materialistic wealth. It's social relationships and enjoyment at work and other positive aspects. To make this clear, let's take lottery winners. Lottery winners, most of them become unhappy and broke when they receive money. Most of them, they become bankrupt, and their social lives become ruined when increasing happiness. Thus, how can you say that money buys happiness if lottery winners, they gain money and then they become broke and unhappy? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Affirmative team, would you like to introduce a new idea, or should we move on to the refutation, to the refutal stage? Refutal. Okay, you may begin.
You said they should live a useful and purposeful life, right? Isn't helping the poor useful? Isn't helping kids get a family? Isn't this purposeful? To add on, you also mentioned that it doesn't increase after reaching $75,000. Isn't $75,000 a lot? And also, it doesn't increase after reaching $75,000. So it increased before $75,000. Why? Because of money. And in the beginning of the debate, you mentioned that happiness is not something that can be bought. Neither is health, but we have hospitals. Neither is knowledge, but we have schools. Neither is respect, but we have positions. You get the point. Money does not directly buy you a jar of happiness, but it would definitely pave your road towards it. To add on, you were mentioning the relationship between money and knowledge. Yes, money can buy knowledge. What are the two major sources of knowledge in life? Schools and universities. The better they are, the better knowledge you get. Here are some tuition fees for the world's best colleges. Massachusetts Institution of Technology, MIT, $46,000. Harvard University, $45,000. University of Cambridge, $35,000. Isn't this money buying knowledge? Yeah, and finally, you talked about money, friendship, and love. We are here to argue whether money can buy happiness or not whether money can buy friends. Sure, friends make you happy, but there are more ways that lead to happiness. Thank you.
Please, you may have to give them a chance to refute. Do you have anything to say?
First of all, yes, our topic is about money can buy happiness. But if a person has no love, no friends, and no family, it is impossible for him to be happy. That's why you see isolated people are the most depressed type of people. A person needs social relationships, and thus Money does not get you the social relationships. Also about education, not all educational systems require money. Plus, education is not a direct source of happiness. Happiness comes from other stuff such as internal peace and well-being. Such well-being does not come from the money that we have. They come from other sources such as being kind and establishing social relationships that provide us happiness.
Go on, yes.
Yes, they are not the only source of knowledge, but they are the best. You have to pay to receive the best knowledge out there. And then you were talking about money and depression, right? Depression, what does it lead to? Does it lead to the suicide? Yes, it leads to suicide. But let's go back and look what is the main cause of suicide. External economic factors were tied to 37.5% of all suicides in 2010, rising from 32.9% in 2005. The overwhelming bills, student debts, and financial debts are the leading cause of suicide in most countries. To add on, if you are suggesting that depression leads to suicide, well, you could pay a proficient psychologist to assist you and help you in what you need.
Would you like to refute that?
We would like to ask you, what is the cause of depression?
You may answer.
It is mainly illness.
What type of
Mental
illness? What causes it?
Mental illness.
No, depression is not caused by mental illness. A person's not born with depression. Depression is created in a person's life because of a lack of social interactions and the lack of kindness and to always have grudges. That's why we see that most depressed people focus on material wealth and not on social interactions. For example, as we said, lottery winners. Lottery winners think that receiving money will make their lives happier. However, 70% of them, they become depressed and bankrupt in a short amount of time of 7 years. How can you explain that?
Let me read a part of my introduction back. If money doesn't make you happy, then you are probably spending it wrong. Those people spend their money wrong. What do they spend their money on? They spend their money on drugs, and they spend their money on drugs and alcohol. If money doesn't make you happy, you are not spending it right. You are speaking about spending money in self-harm. Is that spending it right? You are putting a stereotype around all those with money. Don't you have enough money to buy drugs? Why don't you? It is because your ethics stand between you and that.
First of all, we mentioned nothing about drugs and spending money in the wrong direction. And we would like to ask you, how is spending money right? Can you give us an example?
Helping other, buying necessities of life, helping of the family.
So you just proved our point that happiness comes from the family and not from the money. Because without the family, one could not be happy. Without family, how would a person spend his money?
Excuse me, may I interrupt, please? We would prefer that if everyone says an example and supports it, then discuss it. So we have plenty of time. So don't keep interrupting each other, okay? Thank you.
Just point again. Your point again.
Affirmative team, yes, you may continue. Please repeat your point.
Our point is that you said that spending money is the right direction. For example, spending it on your family and buying for your family the things they need. However, don't you think what causes happiness isn't spending, it's the family love that occurs in between?
Back to my arguments again, we talked about family. What have we talked about? What do you discuss in family? We discussed the what's it called? The problems that one faces while proposing in the Arab countries, while he's trying to establish a family. What's your job? Do you have a house? Do you have the sufficient money to care for our beloved daughter? How many times have you ever heard of a guy getting rejected because he doesn't have enough money? He couldn't make a family because he didn't have enough money. Yes, this will lead to depression. When he couldn't make a family because he didn't have enough money, this will lead him to be lonely. This will lead him to get depressed. Money, it won't buy you a family. You can't just go to the shop and buy you a daughter and a wife. But it will make it much easier. It will make it much easier to establish a house, to get them food, to get them the clothes they need to live. Thank you.
Yes, but the core base of inner happiness in a family is created by the love between the family members, not buying your family their essential needs. And yes, you need money to raise a family, that is for sure. But the topic is about happiness. And the happiness is created not by the money that you spend on them, it's by the love that creates in between them.
Okay, affirmative team, this is your last argument. Please argue properly with this.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and yes.
Yes. They're now asking questions instead of arguing, which is not acceptable. Yes, that's a problem. They are just throwing questions. So please, please, like, uh, say your point, prove it, and if they have to argue it, they will repeat it, and then you should say your point and then prove it. Okay. Okay. Fine. So back to the second point. Please state your second point again. Yes.
Our second point is in opposition to what you said about generosity. What is true is that money will never be enough for people. It increases greed and reduces generosity. Some people, like you, believe that that money buys happiness because a person could donate and give to other people. However, a recent study made in the University of Toronto and the University of Stanford shows that the people that are the least wealthiest are the people that spend the most on other people. Therefore, a person does not have to be rich to spend on other people. Also, you'd probably say that billionaires around the world, including Bill Gates and other rich people, including Warren Buffett, uh, these people spend money on other people. For example, they donate most of their gainings. However, that people would think that when it comes to giving, rich people are much more giving than poor people because they have more money. That's what Paul Piff, a researcher at the University of California, thought. However, when he conducted a study on many different people of different socioeconomic levels, he found out that the least wealthy people are those who gave the most. They give 44% more than those that were rich. And the University of California is one of the top universities in the world. It's the fourth worldwide. Thus, in conclusion, it's absolutely false to believe that rich people are more generous than poor people, because rich people are less compassionate and are more greedy for money. They are less likely to spend money on other people. So when a person gets money, it is most likely that person will become greedy and will not donate most of his money. And as Prophet Muhammad said, charity does not diminish wealth. Thus, it is okay for a not so rich person to spend money on other people.
Thank you. Alfred, please introduce another point if you have. If you don't, we may move to the argument.
We are not talking about the personalities of the people with money. You said it yourself, spending money on others makes you happy.
Excuse me. Is this an argumentative stage or a point position? You want to present your point?
No, it's a refutation.
You don't have any more points to present because this is the last chance.
No,
to
I
present.
present all of them.
All the points?
Yeah.
Okay, judges, may we move to the refutation now? Do you have another point to introduce? Please introduce your point. So far, we have presented 2 points. You have 2 or more points to present. Please present them now. Okay, so please continue.
Okay, now we move on to our third point. Money can't buy you family ties, nor friends, nor love, and all are essential to happiness. As actor Michael J. Fox once said, family isn't an important thing, it's everything. For family, we all see how a rich billionaire tried to murder his own brother over property disputes, or how a son asked a top contract killer to shoot his own father so he could claim the fortune.
Gentlemen, please calm down, please.
Here, money is a culprit that breaks family bonds. However, if you don't want to talk about worst-case scenarios, do you really believe with all your heart that money can strengthen your ties with your family or bring harmony to your family? Do you think giving your parents $1,000 would make them love you even more? Money may ensure you a life of comfort, but for happiness, it just doesn't do the job. Without friends, life would be meaningless. For when I is replaced by we, even illness becomes wellness. You see, friends are essential to happiness, and money could not buy you true friends. True friends are made by loyalty, honesty, kindness, trust, empathy, and optimism. Money, however, may, and I say may, buy you a friend, but that friend would be insincere, artificial, and fake. Finally, money does not buy love, and love is essential to happiness. Psychologist, psychologist Eric Fromm says the definition of true love, an act of will and judgment, intention and promise. It also needs commitment and similar choices and thoughts, for like attracts like. Money, however, either starts fake relationships or ruins them. In America, there is one divorce approximately every 36 seconds. That's nearly 2,400 divorces per day. 16
Excuse me, please rustle up the points because we need to divide equal times. Yes, yes.
About 192,720 marriages are ruined every year only in the United States, just because of money issues. In conclusion, money, friends, or love are all essential to have a happy life, and money could not buy either of the three, and in fact, ruins them many times.
Okay, have you presented all your points? Yeah, okay, but please, like, yes, cut to the point, please. Okay, yes, so yeah, you may begin.
Final point. Excuse me.
Okay.
Final point.
Settle down, please. Settle down.
Final point. Money does not buy you peace and a carefree life. One of the most important and critical, significant aspects of happiness is having a carefree life. However, money does not let you have a carefree life. In fact, it does the opposite. Money causes stress and constant anxiety. According to a study released in February 2015 by the American Psychological Association, almost 3 out of 4 of all Americans are experiencing financial stress at least some of the time, and a quarter are experiencing extreme financial stress. The stress is not necessarily due to deficiency. According to research by Daniel Kahneman, the Nobel Prize-winning behavioral economist, he quoted in an article in the Washington Post, "Being wealthy is often a powerful predictor that people spend less time doing pleasurable things and more time doing compulsory things and feeling stressed. And thus they have more stressful lives. People who make less than $20,000 a year, for instance, spend more than a third of their time in passive leisure, like kicking back and watching TV. By contrast, those making more than $100,000 a year spend less than a fifth of their time in passive leisure." Another study occurred when researchers tracked 18,000 adults over a 9-year period in the UK and Germany, asking them annually about their income level and how satisfied they were with life. They found that people with higher salaries were no more likely to have a high life satisfaction than those who didn't. It is often assumed that as our income rises, so does our life satisfaction. However, we have discovered that this is not the case, said lead researcher Dr. Christopher Boyce from University of Stirling. Thus, you can see that carefree life does not come from money. Money may provide one with a little extra physical comfort, but inner peace, happiness, and a carefree mind come from different aspects. Some of these aspects include expressing emotion, cultivating imagination, enjoying your time, being with true friends and family, having a goal or purpose, trust, seeing the good in everyone, and most importantly, following a religion. Personally, for me, when I am under stress or when I am having a rough time, I do not seek a mere printed piece of paper. Instead, I pray to God and ask for guidance and peace from Prophet Muhammad.
Thank you. All your points have been stated, right? All your points have been stated, right? Okay, so we may move on to round 3. Judge, do you have any comments to say before we could proceed? Okay, so let's start with the recitation, the affirmative team. You may begin.
Okay. So as long as you have money, you have your so-called temporary happiness. This does nothing but prove that happiness can be directly related to money. Yes, they might be there for the money, your friends, but they are there. They will help you during the hard times, they will give you company, and they will do what you ask them to do. The results of their presence is more important than the cause. You mentioned that money can't buy friendship and love. We are here to argue whether money can buy happiness, not whether it can buy friends. Sure, friends can make you happy, but there are many more ways to achieve happiness. Then you say that you want a carefree life. First off, this argument is irrelevant. We are here to discuss whether money can buy happiness. To satisfy your derived argument, let's take an example of a financially troubled man and a rich man. The first has 2 jobs, each 8 hours. The second has a standard 9-hour shift without rest. Which one has more time? And the rich man is more carefree.
Do you have any questions that you would like to present them so that they can answer? That's it? Okay. Next team, can you refute what they said or present any other questions?
Before asking our questions, we would like to just say that you said money has nothing to do with friends. However, without social interactions such as friends and family and love, one can never be happy. Also, we would like to ask you this question. You're saying that money is essential to happiness. Listen to this question. Buddhist monks, they're among the happiest people on earth. In fact, there's a 69-year-old monk who scientists call the happiest man on earth. His name is Matthew Richard. When asked about the cause of his happiness, Matthew Richard says that the cause of his happiness is being optimistic and being thankful for everything he has. Thus, how can you claim money is essential to happiness if the happiest man on earth said that money has nothing to do with happiness?
Do you have anything to add? Any questions to add? Yeah, okay. Answer the questions, please.
Nowhere did I mention that money is essential for happiness. We are here to discuss whether money can buy happiness or not. We are not speaking that money is the only road to happiness. Yes, there are hundreds of other ways to happiness. We are speaking about whether money can buy happiness or not. And the monks you are speaking about, why don't you turn yourself into a monk? Why are you currently in school doing this debate? Monks have a religious goal. They believe that the ultimate happiness resides in isolating themselves from the worldly gains. For me and for most of us, this isolation is as far from happiness as it could get. People have different opinions of the aspects of happiness.
Would you like to ask the team any questions? No questions?
You're saying that the topic is about if money is essential to happiness or not. It's not essential to happiness. You're saying that money can buy happiness. But these Buddhist monks, I told you, they did 256, they attached 256 sensors and found that they had, Matthew Richards is the happiest man on earth. You're saying they have their own opinion, but the core and the basics are still there. Happiness comes from being grateful and having a carefree life. Thus, you can't deny that happiness does not come from such stuff. And you can't deny that money is like...
Yes.
Just like I can't deny that this can make you happy, you can't deny that money can't make you happy. Money is it's not essential. Money is a way to happiness. There are other ways to happiness, but money is one of them. So I'm not saying that money should necessarily make you like it's the only way to make you happy. No, it's not the only way. There are millions of other ways, but money can buy happiness.
Yes.
If money can buy happiness, why do many celebrities get depressed, do drugs, and sometimes even commit suicide, although they're extremely rich?
I have 2 points for this. First is celebrities and suicide. They suicide. Why do they suicide? Because of depression and drugs. Right? Let's take each separately. Drugs. As I mentioned in my introduction, if money doesn't buy you happiness, you are not spending it right. You are speaking about spending money in self-harm. What's self-harm? Spending it in drugs. Is this spending it right? Are drugs spending the money in the right way? You are putting a stereotype around all those with money. Don't you have enough money to buy drugs? As I said before, why don't you buy drugs? It is because your ethics stand between you and that. One more point. As I said, also mentioned earlier, depression leads to suicide, but also that leads to suicide. External economic factors: 37.5% of suicide, overwhelming bills, student debts, and financial debts.
Okay, this is your last stage to ask questions or refute what they said before we move on to the finishing statement.
You're saying that these celebrities, they commit suicide because of depression. But what causes their depression? Their depression is caused by a lack of social interactions. Most of these celebrities cannot go outside and walk in the normal streets. They cannot socialize with normal people. If they did, they would get attacked by paparazzi and other fans. Thus, it is proven that what causes happiness is a carefree life. Money can do nothing in such a situation, and money cannot help you buy happiness because these people are already so rich and they commit suicide and do drugs.
Thank you. Affirmative Steve, please, you have 1 minute to come up with a closing. Do you have your closing statement ready? Your closing statement.
Yeah, we just have one refutation and then the conclusion.
One more refutation, okay.
You spoke that the celebrities they couldn't like walk in the normal street or they would get attacked by paparazzi and so on. How many celebrities do we have? We have a lot of celebrities. Don't you think they have a community of their own? Don't you think they can socialize with each other? They can socialize with each other. There are levels of social life. You know, the poor, the rich, and the celebrities. They have a level of their own. They can socialize between each other. So if they want to socialize, they have the option to socialize. But no, they want to depress themselves. So it's their choice. And the conclusion now.
This is your last. This is the last chance to refute. If you have something to refute.
Are you claiming that poor people and rich people should not interact? Are you claiming that celebrities are not normal people that we must have the right to communicate with? Why aren't they normal like us? Why should they have their own labels?
Please refute. Do not ask a question. You need to refute the statement. If you do not have, we will move on to the closing statement.
You're contradicting that money buys happiness. However, since you're not believing the statistics we're giving you, you must believe something. Thus, I would finally like to ask you one thing. Prophet Muhammad, the central figure and founder of Islam, was a prophet who chose the life of poverty. His wife mentions that he never had food for 3 consecutive days. He'd say, "What care do I have for this world?" Thus, if Prophet Muhammad himself does not value money, why should we? Are we any better than him?
Question declined. May you please move to the closing statement? Yes. You have 2 minutes, please. Yeah, you have 2 minutes.
Yes, indeed, money can buy you happiness. It might be indirect, but at the end, it leads to happiness. With money, one can afford expensive medicine bills to keep their beloved ones from dying from a curable disease. One can enjoy life without having to worry about cash shortage. Wouldn't you be happier with your loved ones on first class heading to a tropical island for a vacation? Wouldn't you be happier to express your love with an expensive diamond? Money might not be the only path to happiness, but it can definitely buy it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, affirmative team. Negative team, please proceed with your closing statement.
In conclusion, everyone, when we take this debate into real-life applications, it is pretty clear that money cannot buy happiness. Happiness comes from building relationships, giving thanks, practicing kindness, appreciating others, and seeing the good in everything, and finally, not focusing on material wealth, as we said before. First of all, money has no relation to the meaning of true happiness. Money makes people greedier and less likely to donate. Money can't buy you love, money can't buy you friends, money cannot buy you family, and all are essential to happiness. And finally, money does not guarantee peace and a carefree life, and peace and a carefree life are what brings happiness. For the timing, I would quickly like to end with a poem written by Greenpeace, an environmental organization with offices in over 40 countries. Money. Money can buy costumes, but not inner beauty. Money can buy idols, but not devotion. Money can buy books, but not knowledge. Money can buy a bed, but not sleep. Money can buy medicines, but not health. Money can buy clothes, but not shame. Money can buy food, but not hunger. Money can buy flowers, but not fragrance. Money can buy land, but not a sweet home. Money can buy honey, but not sweetness. Money can buy some things, but not everything. And finally, money can buy luxuries, but not happiness.
Thank you. Please give a big clap for both teams, please. We will now allocate some time for the judges to make their decision. Uh, Gentlemen, please calm down. Gentlemen. First, before we proceed to the results, we would like to hear some feedback from the judges. May you please pass the mic if we feedback? Or has no need? Okay. So here are the results ready. For the negative team, 45.5 points. For the affirmative team, 29. The winner is the negative team. Please, a big clap. Thank you for attending this event, and it was our honor to have you.